is an app that we have just finished developing and launched for North Van Arts, which is in Vancouver and covers North and West Vancouver. We are, me and Chris and Sean, the three of us who are the founders of On the Spot, are actually from Vancouver. So this was a great opportunity, an exciting, really exciting opportunity for us to start working on a project that's close to home and in our own very own neighborhood. So it's something that we worked on. We started it last September, and along the way we learned a lot. We did quite a bit of research and started, getting into the whole scavenger hunt concept. It's a fairly well-trodden field within the app development space, but we found that there were some gaps there, and that there was a lot of stuff that we could improve upon. So today, I want to talk about. We'll start by talking about, why actually scavenger hunts are such a effective way of getting people engaged with your community and out and about, and actually interacting with it, as well as learning about it, and how this can really go take your existing tours that you have, perhaps on the Spot app, and really supercharge them, make them get people really diving into them and coming back and really kind of obsessively trying to finish all of the tours. I will talk about what the project was, the goals. I'll talk, and then this isn't just about what we did. I'll also talk about what's out there already, what other apps are available, who's been working on scavenger hunts so far, and what are the advantages and disadvantages of some of these different approaches, and what we can do on our end now to what we can learn from that. I'll show you then what we built, and some of the design decisions that went into it, considerations that you might take if you're designing your own scavenger hunts, or doing them on one of these other platforms, or with us. And then I'll talk about what it's like to work with us, how this can be applicable. You can work with us to kind of build this kind of tool in your own community. So let's get started. So why scavenger hunts? Scavenger hunts, are often, just looking up like Google image search for scavenger hunts is, you're really reminded it's, something that is really popular, that you do when you're a kid. But it's actually something, it's obviously something that we all love to do as adults. And it's just a very effective way to get people actually engaging with the environment. With On the Spot, we create history walking tours, and these are, they're based on then and now photos a lot of the time, or they're audio or video, and we've all probably taken some kind of a tour before, right? But a lot of the time there isn't a whole lot of interaction with it, especially with the self-guided app-based ones. People can just, they might lose interest partway through, and you want to try and figure out ways to get them keep their interest throughout. So our analytics show, like a significant proportion of people will, they'll get maybe halfway through a tour, and then they might stop for lunch, and then just decide not to continue doing it, or or it's something, even if you're just in a museum, you're not going to try and all the time, try and finish everything. But what we find with the scavenger hunts is actually, when you get to a spot, a general location of where a clue is located, you have to solve it. And this requires actually thinking about what's around you, rather than just, taking in information. You have to look at, and find that information and seek it out. So it's a kind of, it's a great way to get people interacting with their environment. Also, the clues are, these are quite simple, right? But what we can actually do is create with this app platform that gives us the capability to design all different kinds of clues, which I'll get into. But it's a much more variation in the different clues that you have to solve, and this, is kind of makes it much more interesting when you get to each different spot. And once again, is a great way of getting people interested. You get rewards for completion of hunts and achievements. This is either in the app. It's a sort of an animation, like where you get a little dopamine hit for correct answer. You solve the clue, or it can be in the form of achievements as well that you get for, say, solving it a certain number of clues, or walking a certain distance while using the app, or completing a certain number of treasure or scavenger hunts throughout the app. By having, with the tours that we have right now and on the spot, a lot of the tours, there's not really a completionist aspect to it that we have just built in yet. It's, you can kind of just pick it up and then you're done with it. And it doesn't kind of have a way of showing you that you've already done it, or that, show you which ones are yet to be done. What we've done here is we really want to show progress bars, leveling up, and trying to encourage people to try and complete a specific area, a specific number of quests, and show them what is yet to be done. And that's the idea, is to kind of get them back into the app, remind them that there is still work to be done. And people like to just tick check boxes, which like these ones. Also, if you're doing it as a a history tour or something, or just as a day out with a family, it's a great way to get kids engaged and interested. You can either include a ton of interesting historic information. You can kind of gamify the existing tours we have, but you can keep those kids and young people really engaged and excited about trying to solve the clues, while you're as a camouflage kind of for the more educational proportion of the activity. So and as well as a group activity, where everyone on the has their own phone. You can either be racing, competing, you can make it competitive, or you can make it so that you're able, that you're like trying to solve them together. Like, say, if you're in an escape room, where the activity is, the fun is in trying to solve all these challenges together. So taken together, we have found that this is just a dramatically effective way of increasing engagement with the apps that we already have. And it's something that, with the tours that we already have, and is something that we will be implementing now very, expansively in a variety of ways across the existing On the Spot app. But let's get back to the North Shore Culture Quest. So what they did was they wanted to create scavenger hunts based on this giant compendium of map locations of places of cultural significance that span all different kinds of, be like the location of heritage buildings, indigenous significance, public art, everything. And it's all quite, similar to what we do already, but they have an app-based, a web map on their it's a web-based map that includes all this information, and they wanted to get people actually using more of it. And so what they wanted to do is create a purpose-built scavenger hunt app to get people actually using this material, to make them aware of it. And also all this material, all these locations, are just very easy to convert it into a scavenger hunt, really. So they brought us on, and we got started about last September, October. And this is a project where, Chris, our CTO, who is our, brilliant developer that runs the show for On the Spot, took the lead on this project for the most part, almost all of it, designing the app and building this app. And throughout, we had a very rigorous collaborative process with the North Van Arts team. This is an exciting opportunity for us to, we've had the On the Spot app for 9 years, and we started out, 9 years ago, building this concept, we from the ground up 9 years ago. And since then, we've kind of just been iterating it, improving it, refining it. But we haven't had the opportunity to really, start from the ground up again after everything that we've learned over these past 9 years, and really take a holistic approach to app design. And so what we were able to do here is work with North Van Arts, and also take and just to build like something that was entirely new. And what they had to work with as well, they'd already built created treasure hunts around the community that were printable, and you can see here this is the structure of these types of treasure hunts right now, where it's a clue, has a bunch of information embedded in it that's additional information, and then what it is you find the plaque on the side of the building, and what was the owner's name, take the letter of her last name, and it was like a letter based result, so that the answer at each one was each clue was a letter, and the idea was at the end you would get a 5 or 6 letters, and then you'd have to unscramble them and make a word, and that once you get that word, you've completed the scavenger hunt successfully. What we wanted to do is, actually we started with I kind of thinking about it quite a bit. I started to realize this letter-based approach was actually quite effective, because it actually makes people have to go and be there physically. You can't just Google it typically. So it's and it's also, you can't just keep guessing the answers and stuff. There's quite a few different variations. So what we started by doing anyway, at the beginning of this starting from the ground up process, is looking at what's out there now. And I'm not looking to pick on any of these other apps, but there's one, this shows you that what is available right now. Some of these apps are where they are a platform, and then you can just pay to upload your own hunts to them. And these are, the biggest ones, it looks like, are Let's Roam, Action Bound, and Deckle. And I guess here's a little video of how it works, and it works on a kind of similar principle, right? Where you fit, except this one doesn't actually require you to be there, although a lot of them do. So, and I included that because it's just such a loud noise. But look at the picture. What's the liquid coming out of it? And you're like, oh, it's milk. So this is kind of the format of all of these. They have points, they have achievements. You get from the next stop to the next stop, so what we found was that there's some of them have just generally, this class of apps have there's all different types of clues and actions. They are designed as a group activity because you pay to put up your own scavenger hunt that you can do with your friends. But some people can, it's not generally aimed at the public, I think. There are because it's like user submitted, I went to look at some of these in Vancouver, and, the only ones I could find was like a 16-year-old in 2022 had uploaded a action-bound scavenger hunt for, I guess, Valentine's Day for his girlfriend, which, is kind of cute. But anyway, that's not really, I don't know if, many museums and organizations would want to have their material, their hunts, kind of, set beside those as well. Yes, it just means that the quality is very variable, I think, of these. And so, and also getting, unless you are really onboarding people onto it effectively, and just being, at your, say, visitor center or museum and telling them you have to, here's the app you download and this is the tour you do here, then it's kind of, it'll be hard for people to kind of discover that you have this kind of content on there if they're waiting through, Valentine's Day or birthday tours that other people set up. And then a lot of them were also, you can't use them, like you can't even get past the first stage of like looking at, even figuring out how the app works because you can't get to the first stop on a tour until you actually go to the spot where the tour starts. And this is actually like a very frequent, comes up quite frequently in with all the different classes that we see. Another one that we see, another huge category that we look at is geocaching apps. And I don't know anything about geocaching. Maybe some of you are geocachers, but actually looking into it, I was kind of shocked how popular it actually is. Looking into it, there's just an enormous number of people just doing this everywhere all the time, and actually just talking about this project with random people. The that we're building a scavenger hunt app. So many people are like, oh, it's like geocaching, and like, oh, I do that. And I was, yeah, anyway, who knew? So just for the geocaching app itself, there are millions of people using this app on a daily basis. And just within Vancouver, there's 4,290 apparently geocaches around. And these are, you know, you go to a spot, I'm sure you're all familiar with the concept, where you go to a spot and, you know, you can like sign off on it and, you know, leave a mark or whatever. And they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes. Yeah, just this obsession that people have is something that we were trying to think of. How do we tap into that? The weaknesses though are, yes, like, you know, someone, if you are an organization, you have like a tour, and, you know, people are hunting for geocached items. You know, it looks like if they're, I don't know, it could be stolen, it could be sabotaged. They just physical upkeep of these things is an issue. And they also seem to be, you know, like highly variable, basically. And also that, you know, there's not either like a riddle or anything. It's kind of just like finding the spot is the challenge. And so that's you know, a consideration, but that is, you know, a consideration that a lot of people don't have a problem with, that they're really, really into it. So it's also, I guess, another thing is that if you're trying to get people to come around, you know, in your community, so go shopping, go to your museum, learn. This isn't like the most effective way to get camouflage that kind of educational experience that you want people to have. Yeah, and then there's augmented reality based apps. And I don't mean to pick upon these guys because I think they've done great work. I think when we first started, they were actually in the city as well, and in Vancouver based, and they have, yeah, they've been around for this whole time. But yeah, they've always been interested in how they do augmented reality, because that seems to be the main basis of their work. And where, you know, if you hold up your phone and it will generate obviously like an animal or a moose or something, and this is something, or, you know, like a Pokemon Go type thing, and that's really cool. But it always seemed to me as something that would be difficult to implement well. You know, that if you're like Nintendo and you can do Pokemon, you can do Pokemon Go, and you have the budget to do that really well. But for someone like us, it seems like, you know, it just might kind of come across as a bit gimmicky, and it might be hard to do it. But it is very engaging, and it's also great for kids, and also the technology is advancing rapidly, so that you know, for developers on smaller budgets, you know, there are kind of plug and play type solutions for developing AR. And this is something that we, you know, it looks like something that we're kind of going to be looking into a bit more. But we're thinking, for the purpose of this project, you know, is there anything that we can do? And then there's actual treasure hunts. Now these are kind of funny. They have stakes. You can buy so this is something I've had some friends do, where you buy a map, and they are and you have to try and get to the treasure. And, you know, they have them once every while, I guess, in the summer, at least in Vancouver. And they have very, very challenging riddles. And I thought, you know, I think that they're very popular. I mean, one, there's obviously the prizes, stakes. But two, it's, you know, it's hard. Like, and so they, you know, if you want to try and make it challenging, you can make the hunts either simple, like find some, you know, like the ones we saw earlier, like find some moss in the garden or while you're camping, or you can do really intense citywide type scavenger hunts. And so we were trying to think of, you know, build that kind of capability into it, and also figure out, okay, how can we like tie in like actual stakes, incentivize it with prizes as well. All right, so here's what we came up with. Going through all these different apps, we saw what you need to do basically from a layout point of view is, once we went with North Shore Culture Quest, we eschewed the term hunt because it has, you know, sort of the connotations of the word hunt, as well as if you try and do SEO for it, you Google hunt, you get a lot of stuff that's not kid friendly coming up a lot of the time. So we switched to a quest which is yeah, less of a loaded term. And so the North Shore Culture Quests, you know, in participation with North Van Arts and North Shore Culture Compass, the idea, I think that the main ideas we want to do is make it very easy to get onto the app. So very, very short. It's not even a tutorial. It's just you need location permissions to get this to work. And, you know, we want people to say, if you want to save your progress, you should make an account. And it just immediately throws you into the app. We just want to make it this straightforward, getting people to use an app. You have their attention for seconds. And also nobody reads those tutorials. Like nobody actually reads them if you put a bunch of text in those. They just want to see, okay, what's this app about? Click through it. It should all just be intuitive, right? So what we did also is we found that, you know, say with the geocaching app or with the North Shore Culture Compass, the map can get really cluttered. And this is a problem with our on the spot app too, that we are, you know, just fixing now. But so what we want to do is figure out, you know, if once they get 30, 40 quests in here, how do we get so that, you know, there's different areas that are, you know, that they are within each, there's different, like, it's not too cluttered a map, and that each area also has kind of a personality, so that the idea is we want to get people exploring different regions of the town, different neighborhoods. So what we did is we split up all the basically North and West Van into different neighborhoods. Well, we gave them each kind of a bit of a personality. You know, we had our graphic designer developed different you know, icons for each one and color schemes. And then yeah, and then we have sorted all the quests within that. And so this also allows us to do a completionist aspect. So it's, you know, here's how many, we have one quest in the Ambleside right now, and you know, we're one in Lonsdale in these different areas. Also, so here's how we're doing, and you can see here, North Van Arts is including stakes as well. So different you know, prizes for doing it. As you can see, there's quite a lot, so that's kind of key. And so what we've done is, you know, you go through, make it map centered, and then we also just made it so that, you know, if you want to, you can, if you're trying to get across town to get there, you can go to the different spots. Now, this is a photo clue, which I'll come back to, but what that shows you is the layout. So map centered quests. Here's and then so we have different kinds of clues. So right now, currently, we have multiple choice, letter-based. We can also do word-based. We were trying to think of, and then different kinds of clues that we can have answers for. There's also, you know, the clues themselves, like different kinds of answers, but the clues themselves can also be video-based. So we have, here's an example, multiple choice one. We give a nice confetti animation. We get a lot of comments that people love that. And then, whoops, oh no. Okay, wait. The people love the confetti animation specifically. And then once you solve a question, yeah, you get a letter. And so you just have to get all the different letters on do the word. You also get a little more, you know, learn more kind of information. Which is something that I think is, you know, that we'll be doing for on the spot as well, once we put in questions there. And then we have also just simple letter-based answers as well. And so, you know, C, once again, you get a letter for solving each clue. And then, so C. And we just also, we want to make it nice, have animations connecting each of these different stops. And the animations actually was another thing that, you know, just people really seem to like it. Then we did the then and now camera clues. Now, this is a little bit of an older version of the app, but what we just thought is, you know, our specialty is then and now photography. And so that really obviously lends itself to scavenger hunts, because what we do is we find a historic photo. We give you a radius within which that historic photo was taken. And you have to try and figure out where the photographer was standing when they took that historic photo. As you can see, so it's a radius right around there. You just get within, you know, a certain distance. Now, Chris was just testing this at home. So, you know, it works here. But I don't. You take a picture, and if you are within that radius, he was on like a testing mode, so he wasn't actually there. but if you're within that radius, you get the correct answer. We're looking into trying to make it more AR-ified and stuff. But the thing is, the camera actually works really well. And once again, we have it in the On the Spot app now, but we don't really prompt people to use it. Whereas here, what we're able to do is use this, people are kind of forced to use it, and it kind of blows them away. Like a lot of people right now using the On the Spot app are not aware that the camera's there. And so another aspect of this as well is if we're doing prizes, we want to make sure people are actually not just answering it from home, right? Or just trying to figure it out, or if it's like a race, because some of the competitions that North Van Arts will be having are races that they don't have people say at different spots who know all the answers already, and I can just like tell each other, or you can know what they are beforehand. These ones you have to actually physically be there, so it actually makes sure that it solves the geo-locking problem for us that a lot of the other apps require, because a lot of the other apps you just can't get past the first stage without you can't past the welcome screen without actually looking at the without actually going to that spot. So this Quest Upon tour, as we saw before, is they haven't, I've wanted to take one of their tours for years, but I have not been to New Westminster, where I think is the closest one. I haven't checked in a little while, but and so I have never been able to try it. I don't know how the app really works aside from their marketing materials. So this makes sure that it gets people engaged, and then you can also jump around to different clues, so that if you're stuck doing you don't get stuck on one specific answer. You can do them in whatever order you like as well, which I think is important. And I just want to show you here, because here's like an example of the camera actually in action. This is the On the Spot camera, but just shows you how effective it's how effective a tool it is for lining up historic photos, and making sure that just creating your own art basically. And this is a concept that we're really building on for putting in better kind of tools, the image editor, to make people create their own images and share them. But as you can see, the result is pretty good. So it's the same software that we have in the app now. Now the bus kind of came in and ruined the example photo I created, but you can see, you can line up all the buildings nicely and stuff like that. So anyway, it's really cool. All right. And then once you get all the clues, you unscramble the word. And so here, try and figure it out. Trails. You can make them much harder as well. We can make them all kinds of different difficulty levels. You can have them aimed at kids, certain ones aimed at kids, different age levels. And you can also have them correspond with different events. I know North Van Arts has they have a craft brewing week coming up. So they are partnering with a bunch of craft breweries to create an app-based scavenger hunt around the community. And then also we can add in all kinds of different achievements. And so we're just brainstorming them and trying to come up with all different kinds of achievements. And they can kind of, also just go up into the future, different kinds of medals and stuff. And this is all to add to that, the completion bars and everything. It all just really adds into that completionist aspect that is really, really good for getting people engaged. We also have the CMS that we have built. And so I was just going to show you this, that Chris built, I should say. So what this means is that our partners are able to fully control what is in the app, and they can upload. They can upload it in real time, test it in real time, and do all kinds of different stuff. So as you can see here, you can add all different kinds of material. You can see add different users, different. You upload media. I think if any of you have done any kind of basic WordPress web design, so every kind of category that's in the app, you can add it in and customize it. And this is something that we'll be rolling out for On the Spot as well. And so it's that simple. Where say if I wanted to create in a quest, you can put it in like I don't know, let's put Thunder Rave, and then make it featured, description, the final word, it's we'll put like trails like that. and then add in images, put it, fit it in a neighborhood, put it on the map, and then just add the stops one by one. It's very straightforward. And there's documentation so that, our partners can, we just guides for, a very simple walkthrough on how to do it. And then you can test it in real time. You can also add in your own achievements, whatever you can come up with. There's, all different kinds of, different tags for different types of stops. So if you want to say this clue is related to this subject matter, and then if you want to, we can also filter, I guess within the app as well, there's like filters for different and sorting for different, types of quests that focus on certain things, or clues within quests that focus on different things. Anyway, it's like and you can also add in sponsors, if you want to if you're getting sponsored. So enormous amount of very straightforward, simple user power within the hands of our partners. So it's something that we are excited about. So, and this is something that we will be applying to on the spot soon. Also, so we launched it. I was trying to. I didn't have events pictures of our launch events, but we basically we launched it. We did a big beta test a few weeks ago, or through the month of May, where we as part of the Vancouver Tourism Challenge, a bunch of different, a lot of people working at different tourism companies get, you have to run around and get stamps in the tourism passport, and in order to get, a bunch of prizes. And so this, as part of North Van Arts' to get the North Van Arts stamp, you had to complete the tour. And then they had the option of doing a survey. 95%, I think, approval rating. So that was pretty good. This is all beta version as well. This is, we've gone through a number of fixes. We've replied to all the feedback, especially for, every kind of drilled into these 7. So it's a really good app now. And it's something that we've learned a lot of lessons from. We had a launch event at North and West Vancouver festivals last week. So, I guess it was last week, and that were very, where it was very well received. And so now we've had hundreds of downloads. We have upcoming press pieces, and so basically the scavenger hunt concept has proven like a massively more effective way of getting engagement with the app. And so also it just means that, with all the lessons we've learned, we're going to be rebuilding our app from the ground up. In a short time. But so North Van Arts, for their part, they'll just be adding new quests continuously. And this is something that, now that they have the CMS, just with some relatively minor maintenance on our end, on Chris's end, we'll be able to keep that going for years to come. And they can just kind of incorporate it into all kinds of different events that they're doing. Because, they'll be doing all kinds of different prizes and giveaways, and they just have such a packed calendar. It's so easy for them to use these, taking the tour as a way to, or these quests as a way to want to get engagement with all the different cultural properties on the North Shore, and also get people actually going there. They'll be able to host sponsors will be able to kind of pay to have different tours or quests up, be featured in different quests, all kinds of different massive amount of capabilities now that they have this tool that we built for them as well. And then, so we'll be doing scavenger hunts to our app. We'll also be adding these gamification elements. And then, I think a nice, simple, straightforward thing to enhance the engagement level is, having questions, multiple choice questions within our existing tours. We can just tack those on, and then you get scores for finishing them. You can get achievements. We can tack that all on, but we can also build purpose-built scavenger hunts as well. Or we can take all the content that we have and easily, convert it into scavenger hunts as well. All the rebuilding of our app's gonna have to hold off for a little bit because we are now, we're now building a giant new app for White Mountain Adventures in Banff. which is a little bit similar. But once again, there's a huge amount of demand for scavenger hunt apps. Our client there has been, he's been trying to, he's been kicking around an idea for a different, this Triviography app for years. And so we're going to build it for him. So when we're done that in a few months, we'll be adding all this to On the Spot as our next in line. So, I think the main thing is it's all very effective. I think we really underappreciated how good these tools are for getting people engaged, talking to kids, getting all the kinds of feedback about how much, people just like the animations, the then and now photo camera actually that they didn't know was in the On the Spot app, getting the scores and going out and completing all the different ones. So all the different quests. So that is what we will be working on. So as you can see here, here's our, existing On the Spot app. We have the then and now camera in there now, but it is, it's not like heavily focused on, and not all the images it's kind of automatically applied to all the stops, and not every stop is like a great photo opportunity. So we're going to kind of push the best photo opportunities forward. We're going to prompt users to take those images, and we're going to try and gamify it as well. With the same concept, especially in dedicated scavenger hunts. And then also use those, image or question prompts to really effectively approach our, use our skimmer, dipper, diver approach. And so we can do all this without really compromising the quality of the history or anything else we do. I think it's just a great way to get people engaged in it. So that's something that's exciting. And this is also just a reminder, we don't just do make apps or then and now photo-based walking tours in our app or just custom apps for our partners, but we can also do all kinds of different stuff, content creation or partnerships and hosting within our On the Spot app, including we're doing all kinds of Indigenous video tours now, audio walking and driving tours, virtual tours. I see I see recognizing some of your names here. I see that probably a lot of you have heard this part before, but I think adding the scavenger hunts on is a great way to massively improve the engagement of the existing content we've already built with so many of our partners, as well as like a great way to reach new audiences, make the app content that we build something that is, once you gamify it like this, then you're much more able to our clients are much more able to incorporate it more fully into events that they are doing, and getting people excited about going out and about, and also adding this the content management system as well, and giving our client partners full control over the content, allowing them to add content or update it whenever they want. It kind of gets a lot more buy-in from our partners as well. So if you are interested in working with us on any of this stuff, we are very flexible partnerships to work with. We work with, we have, I guess, over 100 partners now that, run the gamut from heritage to tourism to arts and culture to Indigenous groups or Indigenous organizations, governments, and of all different sizes and all different combinations, projects that involve working with 13 different partners, that kind of thing. So we have a basically we can kind of come up with a project that works for your community. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. I'll just leave it at the partner testimonial.